Think of us as a super luxury store, a store that has the goods. You're going to come and you're going to pay a price, and we're going to give you a very good price. We're going to make very good deals, and in some cases, we'll adjust. But that's where it is. I could announce 50 to 100 deals right now because, you know, I'm the shopkeeper and I keep the store. And, you know, I know what countries are looking for and I know what we're looking for, and I can just set those terms and they can go shopping or they don't have to go shopping because everybody wants to shop here.
I mean, I have 3 months left before I go out of business. 3 months, that's it. Because if I can't get product here to sell, then I have no revenue coming in, which means I can't pay my employees, I can't pay my lease, I can't pay my loans, which I have my house leveraged against as collateral.
No. Answer the questions I asked, please. I only have 5 minutes. Who pays tariffs?
Sorry? Well,
who pays tariffs?
Sorry,
Mr. Secretary, please.
Excuse me.
The question is very simply, who pays tariffs, Mr. Chairman? I'd like him to answer that question.
Well,
he wants to answer other questions.
Well, Congressman, if the exporters, they dislike tariffs so much, why wouldn't they? If I think what you're trying to get me to say.
Did you remember the question? I'm not sure you did. Who pays tariffs? Reclaiming my time. People pay tariffs, right? Reclaiming my time, Mr. Secretary.
Welcome back to The Imperfect Dollar. I'm Brittany. As you've seen in the previous videos that I just shared with you, businesses are facing rising costs and economic uncertainty as new tariffs ripple through supply chains. But it's consumers, you and I, yes, you and I, unfortunately, who are footing the final bill. At the same time, a potential UK trade deal and proposed changes to SNAP benefits in Congress could reshape how everyday Americans put food on the table and manage their budgets. In today's video, we're breaking down how these complex policies collide and what they really mean for your wallet and your future.
President Trump says the new trade deal between the U.S. and the UK has been in the works for 25 years across multiple administrations.
It's been a deal that we thought very complicated. It became very simple. It's opening up the country that we really didn't have the kind of access to that I would have thought. I was surprised.
The president's 10% baseline tariff remains in place, but the deal scales back the levies imposed on British cars, steel, and aluminum.
Now let's turn to the new trade deal taking shape between the U.S. and the UK, a deal that could have major implications for both businesses and consumers on both sides of the Atlantic. Here's what you need to know and why it matters. U.S. President Donald Trump and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Thursday announced a limited bilateral trade agreement that leaves in place Trump's 10% tariffs on British exports, modestly expands agricultural access for both countries, and lowers prohibitive U.S. duties on British car exports. The General Terms Agreement is the first of dozens of tariff-lowering deals that Trump expects to land in coming weeks after upending the global trading system with steep new import taxes aimed at shrinking a $1 trillion U.S. goods trade deficit, which that's pretty huge, guys. Trump hailed the deal in the Oval Office with Starmer patched on speakerphone as the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and top trade negotiator Jamieson Greer head to Switzerland to launch negotiations with Chinese negotiators. So there's some hope. We'll see what happens. He pushed back against seeing the UK deal as a template for other negotiations, saying that Britain made a good deal and that many other trading partners may end up with much higher final tariffs because of their large US trade surpluses. He also heaped new 25% tariffs on auto imports, ended all exemptions on steel and aluminum duties, and announced new tariff probes on pharmaceuticals, copper, lumber, and semiconductors. The deal will provide potential new export opportunities for American producers worth $5 billion a year, Lutnick said, while the higher tariffs would generate $6 billion in annual revenue. That's pretty good for the U.S., I have to admit. But will it be worth it? Out of this UK-US trade deal, they also are reducing the tariffs on British auto imports to 10% from the current 27.5%, according to a UK statement. The lower rate will apply to a quota of 100,000 British vehicles, almost the total exported to the US last year, which is actually a small percentage of all the vehicles that are imported into the US every single year. So the US is not losing that much by lowering that tariff. Both sides have agreed to reciprocal market access on beef, with UK farmers given a first-ever tariff-free quota for 13,000 metric tons. There will be no weakening of UK food standards on imports despite repeated entreaties by the US side.
But the British is really opening market, $5 billion of new opportunity for Americans to export to Britain, where we already had a balanced trade. And what we did is we helped them out, as you pointed out. We said, you know what? You can keep your auto industry. You can only go down to 10%. You can keep it. It's only 100,000 cars we import. And you know, we sell 16 million cars a year. So 100,000's okay.
While the UK trade deal could reshape international markets, here at home, lawmakers are proposing changes to SNAP and Medicaid that could directly affect millions of Americans. Let's take a closer look at what's on the table and how it could impact families across the country.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in strong opposition to the Republican budget. Let's lay out where we are. Republicans control the House, they control the Senate, they control the White House, and they could be passing legislation right now to actually lower costs for families. Groceries, prescription drugs, housing. But instead, they're attacking the very programs that working people and middle-class people across this country rely on. They've proposed a budget that gives massive tax cuts to the wealthiest and to corporations. And how will they pay for it? They will pay for it by making cuts to Medicaid to the tune of $880 billion and deep cuts to SNAP benefits, food assistance to families. And on top of that, they will add to the deficit. When I vote against this Republican budget, I'll be thinking of all of the working families.
House Republicans are advancing a sweeping proposal to alter the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, aiming to shift costs to states, expand work requirements, and curb future benefit increases. The plan, a part of a broader Trump mega bill, is one of the most significant potential overhauls to the nation's primary anti-hunger program in decades. Why it matters. The plan would introduce cost-sharing requirements for states and expand eligibility for work mandates, including for parents with school-aged children. These changes could impact millions of low-income Americans, with the Congressional Budget Office estimating $40 billion in savings from work requirement expansions alone. Here's the real problem. SNAP's harsh work requirement taking food assistance away does not improve employment outcomes. Under current SNAP rules, most adults age 18 through 54 without children in their household can receive food benefits for just 3 months in a 3-year period unless they show compliance with a 20-hour per week work requirement or they prove they qualify for an exemption such as having a disability. Most SNAP participants who can work already do so or are temporarily between jobs. Census data showed that 82% of households with working age adults who didn't live with minor children did not receive disability benefits and reported receiving SNAP at some point in 2023 had earnings during that year. Work rates among SNAP households with working age non-disabled adults and children are typically even higher. 92% of such households had earnings at some point during 2023. Given this data, most working age adults who receive SNAP are workers who supplement their low wages with SNAP or receive SNAP when they are temporarily out of work. Many SNAP participants work in low-paid jobs that have unpredictable hours, don't offer benefits like paid sick leave, and are volatile, resulting in more frequent periods of joblessness. But finding a new job may take longer than SNAP's 3-month time limit allows, particularly in areas where jobs are scarce or during times of elevated unemployment. Looking for work does not count toward the 20-hour requirement. Taking away food assistance through SNAP, which averages only $6.20 per person per day when someone can't document compliance with a work requirement, will hurt workers who are between jobs. Have employers who do not provide a consistent number of hours for them to work or get caught up in the red tape of documenting their hours, an inefficient and burdensome process. Work requirements also take away food assistance from people with disabilities because state eligibility workers without medical training don't sufficiently screen participants for exemptions, or because people are challenged by the red tape required to adequately document their health conditions. If an adult is cut off from SNAP, food benefits are decreased for the entire household. As a result, the more than 4 million children aged 7 through 17 who live in these households would be at risk of living in a household without enough food assistance to feed the family. What are your thoughts about what the Republicans are proposing? I think this is going to make it really difficult for a lot of people to feed themselves and their families.
The battle lines have been drawn. Democrats are standing on the side of healthcare and the American people. Republicans, once again, are trying to take it away.
It only takes a handful of Republicans to stop this, to protect Medicaid and save working families from losing their health care and going hungry.
If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to check out this video next, where I dive even deeper into how other U.S. tariffs could impact your everyday finances. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you think these tariffs, trade deals, or SNAP changes might affect you or your community? Drop a comment down below and let's keep the conversation going. Of course, as always, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future. See you guys later. Take care.